Ever wonder why people do the things they do? I think I may have a clue. I call it tree blindness syndrome. Wow, where is John going with this one, I hear you say? Let me see if I can clarify this a little more. In my case, I recently had a long-term client raise a small issue about a fee we had quoted. In this case, there was a comparison we could draw from, so we knew we weren't the cheapest in the market. But then we discovered that the client was shopping the price to see if she could get it cheaper. We understand that. However, the item was only slightly more expensive, and what the client failed to realise was the value added to the services being rendered. One-stop service, where paperwork was often delivered or collected from a home free of charge, where savings have been generated from current and future tax obligations and investment opportunities taken up, and where totally unrelated advice and assistance was rendered absolutely free, which generated a substantial saving to the client. Now, I am not going to try and explain the concept of value add, because I know that all our clients have experienced it one way or another over time. This is where we happily give more than we charge for, as a free service to our clients. Sadly though, over time, many think and feel that this is the norm in the industry, whereas the truth is that other practices often charge for these services. Still, this is not the issue here. Remember, tree blindness syndrome. I raise this as only one example because I pondered over this case for some time, asking myself, what have we done wrong and why such a big deal was made over this by the client? And here it comes. She was blinded by the one little tree called fees, where she lost sight of the long-term value she was achieving in her entire forest of services. In the end, she accepted the quote. So what went wrong? I believe complacency sets in, because over time, we all become creatures of habit. I cannot fault this client at all, as we did nothing to alert her to the fact of what was given over freely and what was being charged for. The client could only assume that we had charged for everything that we did for them. When the small tree blends into the background of services, then and only then do we start to see the great forest. Now that sounds like bull dust, I hear you all shout. Well, you might be right. Perhaps I went a little heavy on the metaphors. But how else do I get this message across? I can rattle off hundreds of instances of chargeable time where we did the work for free. I recently finished an audit for a client who was not charged for any time. And this matter started in February of last year. We only just received the ATO final reply this week. I would have to send letters to every single client at least once a year telling them what extra value was given, just so that they could recognise the value in the service and the associated fee. Believe me when I say, the questioning of our fee is few and far between. So I don't rate this as a major problem in our practice. So why do I take the time to talk to you about it? It's about you and your business. Getting stuck in a rut and following down a path that may save you $300 over the life of the work being undertaken is time-consuming for very little benefit. And where you can replace your accountant for a cheaper one, you might find it harder to replace your client that moves on because you were micromanaging your business. Assess the tree by all means. Check it for fit and value within your forest, but then go back and look after the entire forest. If you micromanage your business, you may as well retire from business because all you will achieve is reducing the costs associated with your ever-dwindling sales. All you achieve is small cost savings and yet miss the large sales opportunities because you are too busy doing the little things. I have several clients who have recently taken on this program of withdrawing from micromanagement in order to do what they do best, sell their products. They're interested in the daily management as they know it's a part of running a successful business, but they know that the more they sell, the more they can bring in to add to the bottom line. That's it, folks. It took a long time to get there, but we have arrived. Tree blindness syndrome is where you spend so much time on the one tree that your forest dies from lack of water. That is my pearl of wisdom for this month, and I hope I didn't bore you with too many metaphors, making you wonder whether you were reading this month's Small Talk or last month's National Geographic.